Hello and welcome to Cyberman Son, episode
17.
We're here at the Cyber Control Center. Happy Easter. Sorry for the long break, but I'm sure you just enjoyed a holiday filled with chocolates, or ham, or Passover, whichever. So, Andrew, we're still with the 11th Doctor now. So, there was a famous writer, science fiction fantasy writer called Neil Gaiman. He's written a lot of really cool stuff. He had a series come out recently based on his book called American Gods. And a few years back, it was announced that he was going to be writing stories for Doctor Who. And everyone went, what? This big famous writer, this super creative writer is writing stories for Doctor Who? That's amazing. And the first one he wrote was The Doctor's Wife. Do you remember The Doctor's Wife?
Uh-huh.
But then, Neil Gaiman was like, I want to write another one. And they're like, yeah. And he says, and I want to do one with the Cybermen. Yeah. So this time I do know we're going super far into the future. Possibly, certainly for us, probably the farthest in the future we've ever gone before. And we're going for kind of a strange story, one that hopefully solves some plot issues we had with closing time. Andrew, what's the name of the episode?
Nightmare in Silver.
Nightmare in Silver. Kind of reminds me of the title reminds me of Silver Nemesis, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Got kind of that vibe to it. All right, so should we watch it? Yerp. Let's do it. So here's my first.
Well, here we are.
Here's my first complaint, kind of. I'll be honest.
Amusement park
I don't like when they drag kids around. Kids are just there to get into trouble. That's all kids are ever there to get into trouble and to be mouthy. Look at them from the get-go. Mouthy.
It's not the moon.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think it does look like the moon, only dirtier.
Hey, guys, it's not the moon, okay? It's the Spacey Zoomer ride, or it was.
It's the moon.
Excuse me. I don't suppose you happen to be my lift-off planet, Dave's Discount Interstellar Removals?
Afraid not.
Now, let me demonstrate to you all the wonder of the age, the miracle of modernity. We defeated them all 1,000 years ago, but now he's back to destroy you. Behold, the enemy!
Cyberman, get down!
So this is 1,000 years after the Cybermen were defeated. I love this turn sequence. This has got to be one of my favorites.
Defeated. 1,000 years.
1,000 years after defeat.
And they weren't defeated in real time. So, it's gotta
they
be...
were. Remember, in real time, they were basically like almost a legend.
No need to panic, my young friends. We all know there are no more living Cybermen. What you're seeing is a miracle. 699th wonder of the universe, as displayed before the Imperial Court, and only here to destroy you. At chess, careful now, an empty shell, and yet it moves. How?
Magic.
That might well be, young lady.
So the
Single
Cybermen playing chess is based on a real trick that people used to do in the 19th century called the automaton, where it was like a robot that would beat you at chess, but really it was a person hiding underneath the table.
Take a seat.
Clever girl. Well, let's see, hey? Low tech.
It's a puppet, monofilament strings, which means brains. Ari.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. On the brains. Hello. Give us a hand.
That's a famous actor named Warwick Davis.
Porridge.
Playing porridge.
Box.
Famous little person actor.
An imperial penny.
That nowadays would probably cost dollars.
I have not one, but 3 Cybermen in my collection.
I think that was the most fun I've had in my whole life. It was
It's gotta be far in the future.
okay.
Yep.
Clara, I think I've just space is actually
Why
very
doesn't the Earth
wonderful day out, Doctor, but time
It's
to
a
get
picture.
the kids home.
Yeah, no. Not actually ready to leave.
Yeah, but not even for special effects.
Reasons?
What reasons?
Insects. Funny insects. I should add them to my funny insect collection.
You collect funny insects?
Yeah, I'm starting to. Now, I'm not
how
just
many
saying
is
don't wander off. I mean it. Otherwise, you'll wander off.
Like all
And
kids,
the next thing you know...
he says don't wander off. What do you think's going to happen?
They're gonna wander off.
Yeah, because they're just there to move the
Nobody's
plot.
rescuing from anything. Don't
They
wander
might as
off.
well just have plot device 1 and plot device 2 on their foreheads.
Ha! Or instead of thing 1 and thing 2 undershirt, plot device 1.
Plot device 2, yeah, exactly.
Or the doctor's like, don't make a plot.
Don't move the plot.
Day.
Be a character.
Better than no sandwich, of course. Not as good as 2 sandwiches. Or even a chicken.
Ta-da.
Okay, if he's empty, that's not possible. Like, literally.
Oh, but there's cybermites inside him.
Oh, I thought those were cyber beetles.
Well, yeah, cybermites. Right? Nope.
I hate the future. It's stupid.
Anyone heard that?
Maybe phone service. I'm out of here.
No,
The doctor said
phone
not to wander
service. There
off.
should be
He said
phone
that.
service every single
No, but it wouldn't
I
recognize her
think Clara
device.
would like that. She's not our mum.
Turn the lights on. It's bedtime. Turn it on.
I don't know why they didn't, like, why the doctor didn't keep them in the TARDIS, because he wants to investigate a little more. So why not have the kids stay in the TARDIS? Although, actually, mind you, I don't know if I trust them in the TARDIS.
Ooh.
But if he thinks that there's something weird going on here with the cybermites, then they're better off in the TARDIS, I guess.
That's a very primitive light switch.
Yeah.
Just say,
She always has to turn up and spoil everything. I wasn't doing anything. Why can't you just leave me alone?
Ooh, updated.
what the? They're stronger. One. How it feels like this. There you go. Oh, they can teleport?
Looks like it's super. No, these are just moving super fast.
That is teleportation, basically.
No, it's not, because he's not vanishing out of one space to another space. He's just moving
How
really
else do you
fast.
do that without
They're extinct.
He is moving, just really fast.
No, like, teleport. How else do you do that without moving?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I take it
Put me down. I hate you.
Put me down. I hate you. Uh-oh.
That
What's
works.
happening?
Please stand by. You will be upgraded.
Scan it at the ears so they go. Oop.
We needed children, but the children had stopped coming. You brought us children.
Whoops.
Hail to you, the Doctor, savior of
Why did they need children?
Don't know yet.
For our needs.
Oh, because it's still the brain's still developing, so they need a brain that's malleable. That can change.
It's quite remarkable.
Also completely useless to you. Cybermen use human parts. I'm not human. You can't convert non-humans.
Well, that was true a long time ago, but we've upgraded ourselves. Current cyber units use almost any living components.
Uh-oh.
Incorporated, yes. Ah, unfamiliar pulmonary setup, nervous system hyperconductive, remarkable brain processing speed. Amazing. Get out of my head! Stop rummaging in my mind! Just you try and say. Ooh. Who's Clara? Why are you thinking about her so much? Enough! Fascinating, a complete mental block, highly effective. Relax, relax. If you just relax, you will find this a perfectly pleasant experience. You are being upgraded and incorporated into the Cyberiad as a cyber planet. Get out of my head! What is this place, network? A hive? You're getting signals from every Cyberman everywhere. How many of you are there?
Yes! Perfect! Oh my goodness, yes, so much more information! Oh, this crazy brain power and this big mouth! Ooh, it deserves a new name, not just Cyber Planner, but Smartass. Mr. Smartass. Yes, that's me. Yes, I have complete knowledge and complete control over...
Not so fast, Mr. Smartass. We each control just under half the brain, like 49.33% of the brain each. So, I think we gotta figure out who's gonna remain in control.
Alright, I accept your challenge. So, what game do you want to play?
Oh yeah, I got the perfect game for this. What do you think about... Scrabble?
Wait, what? What about,
yeah,
what about
Scrabble.
like
Scrabble's
chess?
a good, reputable game, but two-player kind of sucks. So, hey, Andrew.
Really?
Andrew, why don't you come into my brain too?
Okay.
All right. So it's gonna be all three of us, I think, and we're all gonna play a good round of Scrabble. How does that sound?
I hate this game.
What? I'm allowing you access to memories on Time Lord regeneration. Fantastic! I can regenerate now. Big blast of regeneration energy, burn out any little cyber widgets in my brain. Along with everything you're connected to. Don't want to. Use this me up. Well, who knows what we'll get next. But I can. Stalemate, then. One of us needs to control this head. We're too well balanced. What did you say? No. I heard you. Rhetorical device to keep me thinking about it a bit more. Stalemate. We each control 49.881% of this brain. 0.238 of the brain is still in balance. Whoever gets this gets the whole thing. Do you play chess? The rules of chess are in my memory banks. You're proposing we play chess to end the stalemate. Winner takes all. Nobody can access that portion of the brain without winning the game. You get out of my head.
The thing that the Cyber Planner doesn't know is that the Doctor is such a chess master. He defeated Fenric. Remember when we talked about in Silver Nemesis, Fenric, that evil entity? He defeated him using a logic puzzle of chess. I don't think the Cyber Planner, Mr. Clever, realizes how good the Doctor is at chess.
He's faster.
Notice they don't have the Cybus symbol anymore?
Nope, let's go faster.
Yeah. Maybe it doesn't want her. Or maybe it's just playing with her. These look a lot more like the original Cybermen, eh?
You know, very early versions of the cyber operating system could be seriously scrambled by exposure to things like gold, clean fluid. And what's interesting...
Gold? Cleaner fluid?
You're still running some of that code. Really? That's your secret weapon. Cleaning fluid.
Holly cocktail.
Where did he get that?
There's the golden ticket. Yeah.
Ah.
Things. I'll bring the chessboard.
That's just like Earthshock. Oh, and Tomb of the Cybermen.
They're dead.
What did it?
Everyone.
Get that in you. Warm me up.
Thank you, porridge.
If they could barely handle one.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Pass it in.
No.
Why not?
In case you'll make you right now. Or even if you are. Just in case.
Oh, don't worry. The cyber planner's hibernating between moves right now.
Prove you're you. Tell me something only the Doctor knows.
Clara, I suppose I'm the only one who knows how I feel about you right now. How funny you are. So funny. How pretty. The truth is, I'm starting to like you in a way that is more than just... Oh! Ow! 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 Yes! Ah, it's me! That really hurt. How did you know that was him?
Because even if that was true, which it is obviously not, I know you well enough to know that you would rather die than say it. Finish your stupid game!
Yeah, hard to sneak up on, I guess.
Your move. But before you take it, just so you know, sacrificing my queen was the best possible move I could have made. The Time Lords invented chess. It's our game. And if you don't avoid my trap, it gives me mate in 3 moves. How? I've got no charge left!
That's a mace gonna do.
Yeah.
Come on. Call yourself a chess-playing robot. How?
So Mr. Clever can't understand how the Doctor claims he's going to win in 3 moves.
Hey, you figure it out. Or don't you have the processing power? Hmm?
Please stand by. You will be upgraded. Welcome to the Cyberia upgraded. You welcome to the Cyberia. You will be upgraded.
What are you doing? Doctor! Doctor! I'm putting in extra processing power, 3 million cyberframes working on one tiny chess problem. How long do you think it's going to take us to solve it? That's cheating. No. Just pulling in the local resources. There's no way you can get to mate in 3 moves. 3 moves! Want to know what they are? They're lying. No! Move 1. Turn on sonic screwdriver. Move 2. Activate pulsar. Move 3. Amplify pulsar. See ya. Cheating! Just taking advantage of the local resources. Ah, hello. Somebody untie me, please.
Do you think I'm pretty?
No, you're too short and bossy and your nose is all funny.
Good enough.
The captain, she's dead.
I think you should ask Porridge.
Why?
Well, he is the Emperor. I bet he knows the activation codes. Oh, come on. It's obvious. He looks exactly like he does on the coin and on the waxwork, except they made her a bit taller. But look, am I the only one paying attention to anything around here?
You were full of surprises.
Porridge?
She really annoying.
We will die in the end. Doesn't matter how.
A friggin' sass
I don't
attack.
want the Emperor.
Nice shit. Bit. Not blue enough. Listen. There is a large blue box at coordinate 6 Ultra 19p. I need it transmitted up here right away.
Right. Did you get that?
That's not an implosion.
No, it's not. But, you know, whatever. Kaboom.
Well, Cyberia.
The implosion is like...
It's good to get away. Good to be a person. Good not to be lonely or Emperor of 1,000 galaxies with everyone waiting for me to tell them what to do.
Can't you run away?
We're keeping a close eye on you this time.
Thank you for having me. It was very interesting.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming. Now, I've got something for you.
It's not from me. It's from the TARDIS.
Ah! New phone.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Sorry I said this box was stupid.
Bye.
Bye, Clara.
Good riddance.
Thank you, Doctor.
For what?
Kids, stay out. Getting us off the planet alive, whatever you're doing with the Cybermen. Good night. See you next Wednesday.
Well, a Wednesday, definitely. Next Wednesday, last Wednesday. One of the Wednesdays. Let's go home.
Except for that one Cybermite. Next time on Doctor Who.
Place you must never go.
Well, this is the Doctor's greatest secret.
And it is discovered.
He can't go there, you know he can't.
Oh, which one's this one?
You just said it's one place you must never go.
Oh, yeah, right.
Man in the biggest headquarters of the TARDIS doesn't like
No, look, his name.
What is your name? Stop it, Doctor!
Oh, the name of the Doctor,
I really want to know.
So that was Nightmare in Silver. Okay, Andrew, what did you think of Nightmare in Silver?
It was good.
It was good? Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. What did you like about it?
Cyberman upgrades.
The Cybermen upgrades, yeah, absolutely. It kind of makes sense because, like, we've been watching the Cybermen for, like, frickin', like, 17 episodes now. And, sometimes they just are defeated by, like, the silliest thing. And this, even with, like, Silver Nemesis, like, what's with the gold? It's just, like, gold should be easy to kind of work around. And in this one, they kind of solved that, where it's just like, the Doctor had a golden ticket, put it on. But the Cybermen were like, oh, hold on a second. Okay, rearrange some stuff. Okay, susceptibility gold's gone. We talked a bit about this already. The kids. Angie and Artie. Thank God they weren't in more episodes, because I wouldn't bear it. Nasty. Unfortunately, they were in as many episodes as they were. Oh, we know you go time traveling. Angie in particular was insufferable. She was a smartass, and she was just annoying as hell. So, and like I said, they weren't really there to be characters. They were there to just advance the plots. And I don't know, I didn't like them at all. I didn't like the fact they were in there. Sidney Newman, when he first created the idea of Doctor Who, like way back in the early 1960s, there was a disagreement between Newman and the BBC executives, with the executives wanting a kid to be there to get into trouble, and Sidney Newman saying, no, I don't want any kids in Doctor Who because, it's just silly. Or maybe it was the other way around. But needless to say, whoever it was won, and they got Susan, the granddaughter. And they had a character like Susan for quite a few years afterwards. Yeah, but anyways, I don't like the inclusion of the kids. I find it's too annoying. Instead of Cybermats, we now have Cybermites. Cybermites make a little more sense to me because they're more stealthy. They can get around, they're a little faster, and you can make way more of them, right? And what did you think of Cybermites?
Interesting.
They're interesting? Well, do you like them or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they're better or worse than the Cybermats?
Better.
Why is that?
Smaller and more maneuverable.
Yeah, sure, right? So it makes kind of sense to me to do the Cybermite thing. But the Cybermites do basically what the Borg nanoprobes do. And again, we're in the midst of watching Star Trek for the first time, and Andrew hasn't watched any episodes with the Borg yet. But at this point, the Cybermen and the Borg are very, very similar. Even down to with Mr. Clever and Webley, when he had the half-converted face, that was a very Borg thing. And the Cybermites were very much like Borg nanoprobes. I get it, because the Cybermen came about way before the Borg, but now the Cybermen are taking notes from the Borg. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it was relatively short-lived, so I'm not too worried about it. Also, like the Borg, the Cybermen have kind of a hive mind thing, but like kind of. They were referring to Cyberia, which is kind of a weird, which was like a database they could all basically dial into. So not exactly like the Borg hive mind, but again, we're getting pretty close, pretty similar to it. Remember the Doctor said fairly early on, he said, hey, I could regenerate and just burn you out completely to Mr. Clever. What was the problem with that?
He can't do it at will.
Oh, he apparently can. So, I mean, that's possible, actually, because we haven't really seen the Doctor regenerate at will. We know that they can willfully not regenerate. But think about it. Think about what do we know about this incarnation of the Doctor?
I don't know.
He's the last one. He can't actually regenerate anymore.
You change. You popped right back up with a new face.
No, not forever. I can change 12 times, 13 versions of me. 13 silly doctors.
Okay, so you're number 11, so...
Are we forgetting Captain Grumpy? Huh? I didn't call myself the Doctor during the Time War, but it was still a regeneration.
Okay, so you're number 12.
Well, number 10 once regenerated and kept the same face. I had vanity issues at the time. 12 regenerations, Clara. I can't ever do it again. This is where I end up.
Yes.
Yeah, so he can't actually regenerate anymore, so he's bluffing. Yeah, he says that a couple more times. He tells people there was an episode with Amy where he couldn't leave the TARDIS because there was an infectious disease that would bypass his regeneration. I don't think that was actually the case. I think it was just because he didn't have any regenerations left, so he couldn't risk that particular disease. Lots of things like that.
But he does regenerate into another.
He does, but what lets him regenerate?
I don't remember.
The Time Lords give him more. They have to come out, they have to give him more regenerations.
How many do they have?
You know, that's a good question. Like, we know they gave Rassilon and the Master more regenerations. I think it's a new cycle. So I think it's another 12. That's my thought. Okay, so there's two kind of stories working here. One is the army and the Emperor, Porridge, the Emperor in disguise, in a self-imposed exile because he doesn't want to rule, fending off against the Cyber Army. And the other story is the Doctor versus Mr. Clever. Which one do you think was the better story?
Doctor versus Mr. Clever.
Me too. I thought the Doctor versus Mr. Clever was great. You have the boring, bland, directive Cybermen. They get into the Doctor's mind, and the Doctor's mind is so much more than they've ever encountered before. It creates this strange personality, the new planner, Mr. Clever, and the Doctor's interaction with him. Because the Doctor is a master of chess. I wish that he had actually trapped the Cyber Planner in sort of a logic trap like he did with Fenric or something, as opposed to just lie to him and say, oh, well, I'm going to win, and the Cyber Planner being like, I don't understand how, and then the Doctor is zapping him out of his face. You know, so he tricked the Cyber Planner. He didn't actually... I would have loved to have seen him defeat Mr. Clever, but on the whole, that was the best part of this story. So this actually story, I think... I want to give actually a quick shout-out to the Mondasian Cybermen. He's following us on YouTube right now, and he's paying a lot of attention to a lot of the details of the Cybermen. We're going way back. A cyber ship, at some point with Mondasian Cybermen, crash lands on Earth sometime before the 19th century. Right? Boom. Crash lands. The Cybermen in there are, like, basically demolished. Half dead. Go into stasis. Sometime before the 19th century. That's it. Christmas, 1851, the next Doctor happens. The Cybermen, some Cybermen escape the void using a Dalek dimensional vault and try to conquer 1851 London, but are defeated, and a bunch of them are sucked into the voids after being destroyed. But there's a bunch of destroyed Cybermen parts that are left lying around London. We watched a whole ton of Cybermen get kind of blown up, and their parts are everywhere. Okay. Sometime before 1970, the Daleks encounter the second Doctor and Jamie on Planet 14. 1970, or possibly spring 1969, the invasion happens. 1985, Attack of the Cybermen on Earth. 1986, the 10th planet, Mondas, is destroyed. 1987, Silver Nemesis, the Time Lord superweapon of Validium. The Cybermen are vying for it. And it destroys the cyber fleet entirely. Whatever cyber forces there were are practically annihilated. Mid-2007, maybe early 2007, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. This is when the Cybermen breach their way into our world. they, of course, are all sucked into the void. Late 2007, not too long after Cyberwoman, where a partially converted Cyberwoman has a very tragic fate. April 20th to 21st, 2011, closing time. That cyber ship that had crashed was, like back before the 9th century, was disturbed by this town council putting in cabling that partially recharged their ship. And in my humble belief, and it sounds like you two, Mondazi and Cybermen, it sounds like those Cybermen went looking for parts and found the Cybermen parts that had been strewn around the underground of London and used it to amplify themselves. They are destroyed. 2070, the moon base, where the Telosian Cybermen are like, hey, this is the planet that destroyed Mondas, sort of. And they decide to take over the moon, fail miserably, and remember, most of them aren't killed. They're just blasted off into space. 2071 to 2119, somewhere in there, the Wheel in space. They try to take over a space station, and actually a good percentage of them are just blasted off into space as well. Not even killed. 2526, it's Earthshock and the beginning of the Orion Cyber Wars. The first war between humans and Cybermen. And they lose. How badly do they lose?
Really badly.
Really badly. So badly that they're basically annihilated. Nobody, like, after a while, nobody thinks Cybermen ever, like, exist anymore. They're like a legend. Leads into 2570, Tomb of the Cybermen. Holy cow. We found where Cybermen actually were. We're here on Telos. Wow, Cybermen. Whoops. Now, those Cybermen also weren't really destroyed, except for a couple of them. Most of them were just sealed back in the tomb. And a lone Cybermet was outside the tomb. Not good. 2875, Revenge of the Cybermen. It's an ancient spaceship with a pathetic bunch of tin soldiers scuttling about the galaxy. Decide they're going to try to attack with a fake plague. They also fail miserably. In part due to Voga, the planet of gold. Sometime around the 30th century, attack the Cybermen in Telos. We're not sure when, but that seems about right. Cybermen from this time are using a time machine to go back in time to points in cyber history that they lost pathetically. They still lose. I believe very strongly that they dropped off troops for Earthshock. That's those troops. Possibly Silver Nemesis. That's hard to say. And I actually think that for the 5 Doctors, the Cybermen were taken from this time, from those Telosian Cybermen. A little further in the future, 3286, real time, which may or may not have happened, depending on your perspective. Sometime after that, further in the future, there is a new cyber war. And this time, it's a galactic cyber war. Porridge, the Emperor, tells Clara that the only way to stop the Cybermen was to sacrifice an entire galaxy. That was the only way to stop them, to destroy an entire galaxy where they had gained a foothold. The Cybermen had become so good and so adaptive, and we see that they had taken parts from the Cybermen and had incorporated it into themselves. So they were a full merging. These Mondasian, Telosian, Cybermen, they were the ultimate Cybermen. And we know this because Webley had, in his study, he had Cybermen. And those weren't the Cybermen that initially attacked, that initially forms the army. They were the relics. So they had uncovered some Cybermen. However, that galactic cyber war ended sometime in the 250th century because Neil Gaiman himself said that he set this story 250,000 in the future. So sometime around 250,000 AD is when this story takes place. Super far in the future.
Well, depending on how you count it, it could be a whole new era, like the FE, future era.
Future era, yeah, possibly. Well, Neil Gaiman said, he said in an interview, look, this is 250,000 years in the future from now. So it's somewhere, you could say maybe it's 250 to 13, you could, but we'll just round and say 250,000 AD. And it's 1,000 years after the Galactic Cyber Wars had ended. Whew. Well, that was really something, eh? All right, Andrew, let's put our cyber thinking caps on. What are we gonna rate Nightmare and Silver?
4.4.
4.4? I think that's a pretty reasonable rating. It's not as strong as The Doctor's Wife. At first I didn't like it nearly as much, but, you know, I think back to this one because it's so imaginative and there's so many good ideas that are in here, and it actually patches up, to be honest, what I felt was kind of a plot hole in the last one. So yeah, I'm going to agree with Andrew. 4.4 Cybermen out of 5. Okay, so next time we're actually, that's it for the 11th Doctor. Now, there were some Cybermen appearances, but no Cybermen story. So if you're saying, oh, Steve, what about...
the wooden one.
Yeah, the wooden Cybermen or whatever. No. Those are just glorified cameos. And I don't want to be bothered trying to explain how that makes sense, because that's really silly. Like, why can't you do a fiberglass Cyberman? That makes way more sense than wood, but whatever. Or porcelain Cybermen, or, you know, something, right? Anyway, we're going to the next Cyberman story, which is all the way at the end of the 12th Doctor's first season. Do you remember what it's called?
Dark Water and Death in Heaven.
Yeah, it's a two-parter, Dark Water and Death in Heaven. And I gotta, I guess, scrounge up, but that, you know what that means, though, Andrew? Got 2 more episodes left. Crazy.
Like and subscribe and leave a comment, please. We want to know how many Cybermens that you would rate it, because we haven't been getting much of those, or any of them. But we'd really appreciate it, because we only have 2 more episodes, which means 2 weeks at least. So, bye.
See you next time.